I'm Thuranki Ramacharaka. I try to make my videos lately. I've been trying to set things up so that I have just like a black background, or as if there were a black drop cloth, a duvetine stage drop in the background that just makes me the only thing that you look at. So you're not distracted by the background, but I don't have the right lighting in here for that. So you have to look at my filing cabinet. It makes me look like I'm official. So here I am in my office, all right? The TQR office, coming to you live. Jesus. All right. Listen, this is another thing about willpower. The last two videos, number 250 and number 251, were about the power of will and cultivating your use of it. This is something else. This is not talked about much. So again, this is a pearl of information for you. All the so much talked about will, self-mastery. Lots of videos, lots of material about developing, attaining self-mastery. And one of the main favorite topics is increasing your willpower. Well, two things are not talked about much that need to be talked about with respect to that. One, I brought up emphatically in the immediately prior video, number 251. That is the other mentative pole. Will being one, the other one being desire. You got to have both. Now, I addressed desire pretty thoroughly, although not with immediate directness, in my whole process of developing your motives for attainment of self-mastery, personal involvement, true selfhood, and so forth. And building these motives right in to everything you do from then on. Not just in that work, but in your life too, because ultimately, what is a self-mastery and personal involvement for but your life? Okay, so these become life motives. Right? Well, they root in, they root in desire. Desire is, in large, the emotional content, ultimately, that makes a goal a motive. It motivates. So desire is there. I do address that. But we have to remember that with all this talk about development of willpower in self-mastery, it's not the only thing. It's not fair to just keep talking about willpower without giving equal attention to desire. But my goal here is a little different. The other thing that must be talked about, and it's talked about even less, it's Prana, Vril, vital force. Oh yes, it's talked about a lot in other contexts, like as in pranayama. But in the context of this new thought thing here, or in this case here on this channel, newer thought, I'm going to talk about it in newer thought in connection with will. That's what's not talked about much. William Walker Atkinson, probably the central figure in New Thought writing, New Thought authorship. He talks about Vril. There's a whole book called Vril. I have yet to upload my narration of it. It's already done, but it's not uploaded. Yeah, he talks about it. And he talks about cultivation of will. But connecting the two, I think he does it once. One time. Not in a whole book. I think he makes one mention of it. I could be wrong. It's at least a very minimum of mention. But this is newer thought, all right? So I got to make this connection here. Just like it's not fair to talk about willpower without talking about desire. We also have to talk about Vril. Let me just give a simple demonstration here to get into this. And this is going to be short, I think. I need to get done and go to bed. My wife's waiting for me there. She has a desire, and I have the will to go. She's pulling me, and I'm pushing to get there. So try to keep this short, all right? Let's just think there. Like, I want to move my hand. I have the desire to move my hand. I desire to move my hand. Wait, let's do a better one. My wife's waiting for me in bed. She's drawing me there. Her desire for me to be in bed. That's a very feminine thing, right? That's the feminine pole, the desire. She's drawing. Her desire. I feel it. And I want to push toward getting there. I have the will to meet her desire halfway, So I want to push myself in the direction that her desire is drawing. That's a healthy use of both, and that's how they should work, okay? But within your own mind, because we have both of these poles, right? Individually, male or female, we have both equally, and we should employ them equally. You know that from the former video. Okay, so she can have all the desire she wants for me to come to bed. I can have all the will I want to go, and I still don't do it. Desire and will are not enough. What's missing to make it actually happen? Or just like I was going to say, I want to move my hand. I want to. I have the desire to move my hand. I apply all the willpower I can, and it still won't move. What's missing? The movement of vital force. The movement of soul energy. The movement of Vril. The movement of Prana. Or if you paid attention to the last two videos, the movement of electricity. That makes the muscles work. The Vril. The animating principle. It's directed, its flow is directed by desire and will. I didn't say just will, did I? But that's often the way you'll hear it. If you hear these two connected at all in the same sentence or the same paragraph, of Vril and will, there's also desire. But both of those do not make the action happen. It is the movement of Vril that does the action. That's the action. You can do all the willing you want. You can have all the desire you want. You can have all of both. But nothing is going to happen if they don't activate the movement of Vril. I desire to move my hand. Why? Right now, it's for the purposes of a demonstration. Let's just keep it simple here. Keep it really realistic. I have no other purpose in moving my hand right now. I'm giving an example. I'm doing a demonstration. So let's just keep it for the purposes of that. Okay, I have a desire to do that because I want to show you something. All right, I want to show you my hand move. How about that? Okay, so now I will to do that. Damn thing won't go. Why? Because I didn't move the Vril. The Vril didn't do anything. It didn't work. It didn't go. It did not move a muscle until now. You need to remember that. You want to cultivate your use of will? If that's the big deal, then you need to remember desire too. You also need to remember what else I put in that last video. That you're accessing and using universal will. That's the individual side of it. Your individual side of it is your access to and use of and control over your use of universal will. But nothing happens without the action of Vril. That's where the action comes in. So you need to build this awareness into your cultivation of will. I mean, if that's what your big goal is, cultivate your willpower, that's a very good thing to do, but you cannot get very far without recognizing the function of desire and the function of Vril. Vril. So in some of your practice, like what I just did with my hand, do it. Do like what I just did. Notice the difference. Exert your will. But don't move your hand. Have your desire there to do it. And exert your will, but don't move it. And then move it. Notice the difference. The difference is Vril. Get the feel for that. Experience it. Experience the difference. Experience how that difference feels. Experience it. Then you get a little grasp on the function of Vril as the third element. Desire, will, and Vril. And realize that Vril, just like will, is part of a universal grid of it. If you study Prana, you'll learn that there's, like various levels of Prana, and in Sanskrit, there are different terms for each one. There's the universal will, Vril, Prana, life force, vital force. And then there are, individualized, aspects of it. It all comes from that universal grid of Vril, which I think boils down to basic fundamental electricity, the animating principle in everything, the moving part. The Holy Ghost at work, you might say. I say. You might say. You can picture that at work. Make a distinction. Delineate it mentally and experientially from will. Because they're not the same thing. They both must be involved, and so must the desire. And of course, other things like attention and all the rest. Okay? Yeah. A comprehensive approach to everything. But we're talking about one thing at a time here. One video at a time. One subject at a time. Right here, this is about will with its necessary other pole, desire, as the mentative poles. Okay, so we have the mentative poles and Vril. Okay, it's all three, or both, if you put will and desire together, because they are on opposite ends of the same line called mentation. There's the mentation, and then there's the Vril. That's what's at the bottom of the action. Picture it at work. Desire to know more about it, to experience it more. Desire it. Will it to come to your conscious awareness and more to your employ. If anybody says, well, willpower is not enough by itself, well, they're right. It's not enough to do anything in and of itself. Neither is desire. It needs will. And they both need Vril. And in order for Vril to do anything, there must be the mentation behind it. To get anywhere directed. How do you think the universe is created? There's will, right? There's the mentation side. And then there's the Holy Ghost, the animating thing, whatever you want to call it, is the prana. We're a little picture of that whole big thing. We employ the same principles intentionally, knowledgeably, moving beyond ignorance of it and actually employing it intentionally, knowingly, consciously. These are fundamental secrets, if there are any, to personal evolvement. These are basic tools to get all the rest done. So let's not just give desire its rightful place here when we talk about willpower and self-mastery, but let's also give Vril its rightful place, okay? It's the life in everything. If we want to, in a rough manner, say, well, which is the conscious part in conscious substance in motion? If all is conscious substance in motion, where's the conscious part? Well, I think it would be, in a rough sense, fair to say, well, that's the Vril. That's just a rough way to put things. A very rough way. I just want to make a point with that. Use it as a heuristic device, to help me make a point. It might be just rough. And it is. I just want to give you convey to you the general spirit of the thing. The general spirit of the thing. How do you like that? That fits here, doesn't it? Okay? The mentative poles and Vril working together. Become aware of all three. And then also become aware of them as aspects of some main one thing. Do the analysis, experience it, and then do the synthesis and experience that. Where else are you going to hear this kind of talk put so simply and in short than here? If you know of somewhere else, I'm glad. But I don't know of somewhere else myself. I'm charging you guys with the duty. If you care about people, or you care about the future of humanity, or you care about the future of your children on this planet, you share this channel with other people. Don't just will it. Don't just desire it. But engage the Vril to do it. I'm Theron Q. Ramaturagan. Be well.